Okay, I'm going to do a tutorial on how to cut a t-shirt, any t-shirt, but in this case it's an orange Every Child Matters t-shirt in respect for reconciliation with Indigenous, of which I am a Métis. So I wanted to have a t-shirt that had fringes on the arms and on the bottom. And I actually cut one up on the weekend at the Métis family reunion that we went to, and we all had t-shirts made for the event, and I bought one in red. They came in different colors, and I cut a bunch of fringes on the bottom that went from the outer edges towards the center in a V. So they had long on the side, and they went shorter and shorter and shorter until it got to the middle. And then I did the same on the arms. I did kind of shorter. Was it shorter? Yeah, it was the opposite. It was shorter here, and then it went longer. So it kind of went in a V towards the underarm. So I'm just going to do a tutorial on how to do it by measuring so that it's accurate. I did mine by hand because we were camping. I didn't have a tape measure, so I just did it by eye. So we will try this with a measuring tape and some chalk to help mark where you want to end your cuts, and a good pair of sewing scissors. This is very important. Just regular scissors will not do, because regular scissors are too blunt and they will not cut a perfect sharp straight edge on your fabric. So they are a bit expensive. It's a bit of an investment. These came from the old Fanny's Fabrics, and we don't have Fanny's Fabrics anymore. These are actually a collector's item. We only have Fabricland now. But anyways, you can get a pair of nice fabric cutting scissors for the job. So the first step I did was I held this up in the mirror and decided on each side how long or how far up I wanted the fringes to begin, because they're going to gradually get shorter and shorter and shorter as we get to the front and center, or if it's the back and center of the t-shirt. So I wanted it only to come up to my waist. So this is a large t-shirt, so this first fringe that I cut is about 10 inches. So I'm going to take my trusty chalk, and I had folded my t-shirt in half to match, so that when I cut, they will match on either side once it's unfolded. And I made my second cut by just cutting the center to the length that I want it to end at the center. Now I'm going to take my chalk and I'm going to mark from here to the end. And then I'm going to make my cuts and end at that chalk line. So there's my chalk line. Now I have to decide how thick. So the thickness has been decided on my first cut of my fringe. And so what I'm going to do is measure that, and then each cut, I could really take this as a measurement and cut as I go. That's one way to do it. Or I can just mark with chalk each measurement. That's why I have my trusty little measuring tape here. And then I'm not going to cut through all 4 layers here, because I want it to be accurate. I don't want to make a mistake. So I'm going to cut the top layer, and then I'll do the bottom layer and work my way across. Okay, so I've marked all my little widths, and then I also marked them on the bottom, and I drew my little line on the bottom there from the top of that cut to the top of that cut, and now I'm going to cut. So as I'm cutting, I make my first snip with the scissors up about, so far, and then I put my finger on the end as I continue, just to hold it straight and taut and hold it, press the two pieces into the table together so that, they don't move about as you cut. Okay, so the first layer is done. I'm going to fold over the top and continue on the top. But I'm going to fold this away so I'm not chopping these as I'm trying to chop this layer now. So far I have half fringes done and I got the other half to do. Okay, so as I went, like I said earlier, I would hold down the end either against the table or I would hold it with my other hand as I cut. But when I got to the last two, I had to hold both of them at the same time because I couldn't just do one and make a nice straight line. So as you can see, the first fringe I cut on the fold of the shirt, so it looks like it's not as wide, but when you unfold it, it's as wide. That was the measurement tool that we used to decide the thickness of all the other fringes. Now, I will show you what this looks like. Okay, so that's what the fringes look like once they're cut and done. Now I'm gonna do the measurements for the arms. Okay, so I've decided that I want my fringe underneath the arm to start from here to be as close as possible there. Well, I mean, that's not possible. I could be closer, but I don't want to go right up to the seam. And on here, it's going to angle out and like a triangle here. It's going to end up here. And then I took my chalk and matched underneath where that begins and where this side ends there. And then I will connect my line from here to that mark for the other arm. So again, my first cut is done on the fold, so it's half as wide, because when I unfold it, it will be the width that I want, that I'm going to use to measure all the other fringes. And the same on here, so this seam underneath is going to be in the center of that fringe. Okay, so all the fringes are cut, and you might think that we are done. Well, we could be done. We could just leave it as is and wear it and then throw it in the wash, and it'll come out a little bit different, I'll tell you. It won't be as clean cut as this, but I'm going to show you a trick to make it pop. Okay, so here's the trick. Each fringe, you are going to hold it at the top and at the bottom, and you're going to go boop, and you're going to stretch it one time, and it makes it curl. And then it makes it look like a nicer fringe than just straight cut. So I'm going to pop all these and we'll have a look at it in a minute. Okay, so I popped this arm here and I popped this side here, and as you can see the difference, nice curled little fringes and just straight cut fringes. Straight cut fringes. Nice curled fringes. Much better look. So we will finish the other side and we'll have a look at that when we're done. There we are, the finished product. Now, the beauty about the chalk is that this is dressmaker's chalk and it just comes off. You could just, and get it to come out. This dressmaker's chalk comes in different colors, so I chose white because it doesn't show up as, bad as blue line would show up. Now, this will just wash out anyways, so that's our finished product. Every Child Matters fringe t-shirt. Do it yourself.